Come on in, come on in. We're gonna get this show started very shortly. We're gonna be before you brief today. You already got the comments coming in. My brother Mel, what's up with you, man? If you're here still. So I actually have a different perspective on this and also have knowledge of this lifestyle. Well, your perspective is very welcome, and we would love to hear more, man. As soon as we get into this discussion today, topic is, are open relationships a threat to society? Very important conversation. This is becoming a more popular thing here, and yeah, I want to hear y'all's perspective. This is a legitimate question. We obviously have our views, but there's a lot to unpack here. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Out there in Flint, exposed to lead coming from the water crisis. The Philly kids in the crossfires of the drug wars and the gun violence. The Chi-Town kid on gang turf killed his payback for his daddy drama. Police don't feel safe, we can feel the fear every time they get behind us. The youths don't fear nothing, everywhere you look it's very clear they need a father. Success is a fantasy life, we rarely seen around. The sanctity of marriage is something we need to honor. Pray more dads out here start back wanting to be a father. Let's take it back to family values, villages raising kids and pride in the neighborhood we live in. Let's work to see more two-parent homes, building wealthy support systems for our future generations to win. Let's go.
What's going on, family? It is your boy Driscoll.
Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome to Family Values TV, where we discuss all things marriage and family. And yeah, we got an interesting topic today. A lot has unfolded these last couple of days. Adam 22 going viral, and it's really making the conversation start because, like Driscoll said, this seems to be, or it's being pushed to normalize open marriages and relationships. So yeah, so if you have any opinions, I seen Mel drop in the comments. He has a perspective on this. I'd like to hear more from him, and we have a few clips that we're going to react to.
Absolutely, I'm just sharing it now to the Instagram page.
And while you're here, can you please hit that like button?
Yeah, smash that like button and share this with somebody you think would be interested in joining this conversation. We're going to share a couple videos to give context for where we're coming from. Who's here so far? Melina, what's going on, sis?
Hello.
Finally made a live session. Yeah, we cut it a little later this time. We realized we was doing it so early because we on West Coast time, and it just wasn't working. We was catching people at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to make some adjustments or pop around a little bit. But give me a second just to share this, and then we're gonna get into the first video.
Melina, have you
tagged
heard?
my wrong page.
I've tagged all three.
Okay.
Have you heard about Adam 22 and the scandal, or I can't even call it a scandal, his normal life for him? He's allowing his wife to, what was it? She made a porn video or movie with some other man. Oh man, what is happening with our world where marriage is not, precious anymore? These are married people doing this. It's one thing, it's still wild for even relationships, but it's one thing if you're just in a relationship. When you're married, that's wild.
She said, I have not, other than when y'all mentioned it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get into the first video. Before we get into Adam 22, though, there's different contextualized understandings of open relationships. Obviously, they're not all as extreme as doing pornography. And maybe porn's not extreme to everybody, you know. I mean, I remember even coming up, it was pretty common for people to want to videotape themselves having sex with their significant others, even when they weren't married. So this is not nothing new. But we also have the aspect of the swinger lifestyle. We have the aspect of maybe you just date other people, but you come together for your own relationship when you're done. So many different ways to approach the conversation. Melina says it's just straight up sick,
Yes.
referencing Adam. So let's talk about the first type though. A just straight up open relationship where we date other people. Sometimes we end up doing the swinger thing where you'll sometimes go to parties where you'll exchange partners and either watch or don't watch. But I'm sure everybody who lives in a major city, you have a swingers club there. There's some kind of underground circle community that does this. So this is not strange anymore in today's society. But what impact does it have on the relationship is the question. So let's hear this gentleman here who's a pretty big influencer now talk about his experience with swinging. And his name is Sneako. I'm sure many of you have heard of him if you are familiar in the Red Pill communities. He's going to break down the experience that he had doing swinger parties with his lady. And let us know if you can hear this, because we had this problem before where we would go to share. You weren't able to hear. So yeah, make sure they can hear when I push play. Nothing?
You're doing screen share. Can you do present? And it usually asks you to share audio. You're doing screen share.
What are you saying?
Look, can you hit that button instead? To share.
Let's try. That's probably exactly what the issue is. Yeah, Mel. I'm pretty sure that's what the issue was. So let's back it up a little bit. Yeah, Mel. So why is it still saying screen share? Okay, we'll do this one more time. Okay. Let's try. That ain't gonna work. Anybody got any advice? We could definitely use it. Let me see. Some screens let you share audio. Look for share audio checkbox next to window.
See,
Share audio tab. Okay, but it's not there when I go there, so I might have to do it this way. Okay. Let's see if we got any luck this time.
Do a couple different orgies, sex parties.
Oh, word.
What in the fuck is
and
going
so
on?
I want to tell you on this podcast. You're saying what the fuck? Like you didn't bring me to a glory hole club.
I know, but
we went to.
I didn't participate though.
Nah.
You
were
participate now?
Yeah, I mean, instead of just
Okay,
watching
so
up the
let's be
side, I was
clear.
like, let me.
Wait, hold
yeah.
on. Let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way back. So
No.
you were
You were around naked niggas?
Sword fight?
No. What?
Are you around naked men?
You was in the
Yeah.
grill?
Yeah.
You was in the grill?
Nigga, you a totally different
Yeah,
nigga now.
yeah.
No cap.
Well,
we
this
did
is
it.
the
We did
same
it.
guy when you brought him to the
Routinely
top
see-
floor of
I
of
didn't
the
go
sex
to the top
dungeon.
floor.
You go
No.
to Glory Hole
No,
Club.
no,
That
no,
was
no, no.
I did
70%
not.
men.
Did,
Whoa.
did we go to the top floor? John, did we?
Hold on one second. Sorry about that. We got a million and one things.
Whoa.
Why do you know about the top floor?
John,
No,
did
no,
me and
no.
you go to the? Cause me and him stayed down. Me and him did not go to the top floor.
No, you're
But
missing
I
the
know
point.
you said you've been there before, though.
I've never been to the top floor.
Anyway, when you went up there, you said something. You said something to the nature of whatever happens, happens.
What? Yeah. So we go in there with the mentality that whatever happens inside that party, it just stays at the party. Like,
Yeah.
and so I saw her. I've seen her fuck other men, and it's just like that
You
was.
seen it?
Yeah, I saw it like
Oh, no, I
literally
can't.
right.
I can't be no
Okay,
bully.
hold
far
on, hold
away.
on. I
It
want
was
to
far
start
away.
from the beginning.
How does
So you came, so let's cool because I want to get into all that. That's fantastic stuff.
So I wanted to break this down, like, because this was imagine seeing the girl you love like
Get fucked.
get fucked.
You love her?
Yeah, I do. I love it. Yeah, I love her. I was about to say I love this bitch. I'm like, no, let me not say that. I love my
Queen.
wifey, my queen.
We're gonna get back to that question. The way he said, "You love her." That's important. That's a valid question.
Good
And
answer,
you
good answer.
allowed the love of your life to get fucked by another man.
What happened to the other?
Is there-
women?
is there-
Why did
are
that
there-
one didn't last?
Are there rules to like how big the nigga dick can be?
There
Whatever
has to
happened.
be. There
Whatever
has to be because if it's 10 inches, it's not happening.
Is there sex
Like, 'cause it's
duration?
gonna-
Is it
it's
like a
gonna-
sex
That's not
duration
fair.
limit?
Why?
That's not. Yeah, you're right. It's not fair to you because you have to follow that act up. That's crazy.
You can't say not that dick. You can't pick and choose
You
dick.
can.
Yeah, you can.
I can't be
Hey,
picking
you
and
gotta
choosing.
do your-
dick.
Now, this is where it gets kind of weird because, from my understanding, even in a swinger situation, typically the couples agree on what's what and who's who. And for him to say you can't pick and choose goes to show how little control he has over that relationship. Because when people have explained this to me, it was very important that both parties are comfortable with what takes place and they have to agree on who's who. So for him to say that is very weird to me.
10 is a good cutoff, dog. You shouldn't even be fucking random women with 10.
What should you be doing with 10 then?
You should be keeping that shit to yourself.
What?
Shit. Take it to the circus. I don't know.
So can she enjoy it? Like, what if she's enjoying it too much?
That's the thing. It's like she's moaning pretty loud. Like I don't know, like how much you. I didn't
But you
expect
can't
you.
Oh,
dictate
she was
that,
moaning
though.
loud.
Huh?
She was moaning loud.
So all right. So we went on two different.
Did he look at you?
Okay, hold on. We went on two different occasions. The first time,
crazy.
the first time, as soon as I saw like 3 pumps in, I just got up and walked out. I'm just like, I can't do that. I can't.
That's literally
Just
the
so
plot.
it was just like-
That's
like
the
what it
plot
is?
of
A
you.
1, a 2, and a 3, and Sneeko was out.
So we were supposed to swap another couple, but
Ooh.
I wasn't really fucking with his girl. And
Oh, that's swingers. That's not really a orgy party.
no, so it was
It was more than
He
just
set you
them.
up.
It was-
He brought his ugly girl to take.
That's a crazy guy. That's
Because
a
he know
crazy-
you're not gonna want to fuck his ugly ass girl.
Willie, you
She
missed
looked good when she had her clothes on.
You already missed so much shit. This nigga.
So they touched on a lot of things already that makes this problematic for me. Literally everything that I always think about when this topic comes up for me, that they've kind of already touched on. I don't gotta watch the rest of this video. So this man said 3 pumps in, he was done and had to leave, understandably. Second issue is he didn't even do the exchange because he wasn't attracted to the female. Third issue is that you don't even genuinely know how you're going to feel until it's already too late.
Right.
And you can't take it back.
It's already done.
Mel says, see, there's the problem. These dudes have unrealistic POV on swingers lifestyle, which is why most people in that lifestyle are older, between 30 and 50. I can believe that. So that's my concern.
But wait, what does he mean by the unrealistic?
Yeah, what is a realistic point of view? Because you got those who will say you got to be very secure to be able to handle it, and it's not for everybody. But my question is this: are the people with that stance actually married to somebody that they love and want to spend their life with? Because it's one thing to exchange a girlfriend or a temporary fling, and it's another thing to exchange the person who you want to be with for the rest of your life.
Be the mother of your children.
And that's why when Boy said, "You love her?"
Very logical.
It's a valid
question.
Because how could it not bother and be problematic to you? Lena said you have to have no feelings involved, in my opinion. Exactly. And that's just that on that topic. Go ahead.
And then for a man, you see how he wasn't attracted to the other girl, but men don't garner sexual attention like a woman does. So she will have all the options all the time.
Yeah.
It's stupid for any man to allow this unless they have some kind of kink where they enjoy watching. And he clearly didn't enjoy it.
Exactly. And that's just that. But then you have the situations where you got Adam 22, where for him, this was a financial transaction. I'm going to put my wife out here to do a pornography scene. And this is apparently the love of his life. And he acts as if he has absolutely no problem with it. And I just want to really dig into this to see, does he really not have a problem? And if so, how? What is it that I'm missing as a man? So this is Adam interviewing his wife about the topic. And I'm just curious to get y'all's thoughts on his body language, etc.
How did you feel?
Okay. So I didn't really know the shoot was going to happen until the day before the shoot.
That is
it all happened so fast because in my head, I was like, oh, this is going to be my debut scene. I'm going to need like 2 months out. I'm going to go hard in the gym.
I don't know about debut scene. I mean, I am a human being, right?
No, but like, sorry.
Excuse me, how much do you pay for renter's insurance in New York City?
Oh, $20.17 a month.
Well, can we check out the...
But like everyone's talking about it like it's my first scene, and it's obviously it's not my first scene. I've been doing this for 7 years with you, but like my debut scene with another man.
Another man.
Okay.
There we go. A different man.
A different man.
A different but equal but
Yes.
man, right? Everybody in the room is laughing just in case anybody wants to know where the snickering is.
Like he's digested all the jokes that he's already heard, and he's trying to 8 Mile himself. I am white. I am an effing bum. You know, and he's throwing it all out there and taking ownership of it.
Coming from, I'm getting excited. It's Saturday, and I'm about to play poker tournaments on Sunday, so I'm excited for that. And then Saturday morning, we're going to get breakfast, and you're like, "Hey, Jason is in town. I might shoot that scene tomorrow." And I'm like, "Huh, okay."
Yeah,
like
it was awkward. My sister was there. She's like, "I don't want to be here for this conversation."
Okay. So she told him,
Interesting.
I might shoot this scene tomorrow, by the way, while he's out of town, if I'm not mistaken, what he just said. Or maybe he was getting ready to go out of town. I don't know.
Okay. And so, yeah, I don't know. You continue.
I mean, and then I just walked away. I was like, I think I'm going to shoot with Jason tomorrow. And you were like, okay. And I walked away. I went to wash the dishes or something. And then I come back and you're just like, no kissing. Okay. That was like the extent of the conversation.
Right.
And then I left the next day to do it, and you barely said bye to me because you were playing poker.
I said bye.
To me, that sounds like she wanted attention. And I know this is going to sound weird, but it sounds like she was trying to test him to see if he was willing to put his foot down when it mattered the most.
I agree.
And it sounded like he was bothered.
Yeah. For him to not even speak to her when she leaving because he's going to play poker. Nah.
Listen, we're not going to talk about the past. I'm going to get mad all over
And I feel
again.
bad. I feel bad. It was wrong.
You guys don't understand. I went to shoot this scene, and Adam has been low-key calling me a cheater as a joke. Or like the other day, I was like, "Can you help me with the laundry?" And he was like, "I'm having a really hard time. How dare you?" And I'm just like, "You're throwing this shit in my face, even though you're a part of it." I low-key feel like you're less mad because it's viral, and you're like into being viral.
I will say that having seen how viral it went, it now seems kind of insane that I ever would have like potentially stood in the way of you doing this, just because this is obviously such an amazing thing.
Otherwise, okay, we're successful off of it. I guess we could sell out. But he was bothered.
Yeah.
He was bothered until he seen how much money they're making. And suddenly now I'm able to deal with it.
Yeah.
But that dude was sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you don't sit here and walk around taking jabs and telling jokes about something that you don't care about. It wouldn't even be worth talking about.
Yeah. He's trying to play it cool. And I don't know if I overheard him saying that when he met her, she was doing OnlyFans.
They did scenes together on OnlyFans.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if she was doing OnlyFans, but she wasn't doing sex scenes until they started doing them together.
Okay. So it was always a come up from the jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense.
So to a degree, that's what I'm saying. I don't personally think he cares enough about her, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like you said, she's begging for that. She wants him to care. And so she's pushing the limits to see if you care.
So in regards to marriage, whatever you want to do in your private life, that's cool. But in regards to marriage, I always caution guys against opening doors like that, especially the swinger thing or even threesomes with your spouse or potential spouse can be dangerous because you don't know how long that's going to bother them. They may think they're ready for it and they can't get the pictures out of their head. You bring a potential for trauma into a relationship that you may not always be able to control the aftermath of. And I think that's the scariest thing to think about. Yeah. Lena said that type of lifestyle is acceptable to them, but it will eat them alive from inside. I can't see it lasting. I think that's what everybody can take out of this. But on a bigger level, why is this being pushed so much? Well, what's up with this agenda for women to find empowerment in things like this and for men to accept it? And that's considered strong, and you're weak and insecure if you have a problem with it. Well, Andrew Tate weighs in on this. Let's hear what he had to say.
To know why Adam 22 let his wife Lena do a scene with another man. This is what the Matrix wants from you as a man.
There's a guy called Adam 22. Once again, I have no idea who this man is. I just saw on Twitter yesterday that he was with a porn star who'd never done a male scene. They got married, and like a week after their marriage, she did her first male scene with some random dude. And he's on a podcast defending it.
Did his wife have sex with somebody else?
Correct. Why? Like, this is the level you could, but this is what the Matrix wants from you as a man. They want the woman in charge and the man below with no backbone, because if the woman's in charge, they can emotionally affect her. They can scare her. You can scare a woman easier than you scare a man. A man. A real man's hard to scare. A woman you can make afraid of the vaccine, right? Be afraid, COVID, be scared. If she's in charge of the household, I would argue in nearly any household where the female was dominant, everyone's vaccinated.
That is true.
Can anybody argue different? Every relationship out there, y'all, where the woman wear the pants and the man is soft. Show me one where they ain't all jabbed up, kids and all.
Yep.
I even seen a. Go ahead.
And I haven't met a single mom who didn't get the jab.
I didn't even seen dudes out here. I seen a whole story about a guy who was like, I didn't want my son to get jabbed, but my wife was so determined, and against my will, she took and did it to him anyway, and he had adverse effects from it. And he went up to the pharmacy, this was in Canada, and questioned him about it. Like, is there any side? He did his research. It was like, all of these side effects that I'm finding out about, why didn't y'all inform us that these were potential? And they said, oh yeah, we don't want to scare people away from taking it. And he went off. So you don't tell us the possible side effects because you don't want to scare people off from taking it. And of course, his wife is, I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry. I should have listened. But that's what happens when we can divert the natural order in the household. And we prop up women and repulsive behavior like this to take the spine away from men. And we're telling the men all over society that if you don't submit to things like this, you're weak and insecure.
Yeah, because
This is the deeper agenda.
yeah, because there's no way that a wife that understands that her husband runs the show would ever go behind his back and do something like that.
Yeah.
No way. It's clear that she thought she was doing the right thing and that she can get away with it because he probably doesn't really put his foot down like that.
Exactly.
Till it was about the health of his child.
Exactly. And that's the danger. And silent men and happy wife, happy life, and all of these agendas to keep men quietly submissive to the will of the female.
I would argue that point hard. Of course. Maybe I'm wrong. But
And the irony in all of this, everybody's laughing at Adam. The sisterhood's praising Lena. And this is so amazing. But if it was the other way around, everybody would be feeling sorry for her. He disrespected their marriage after 1 week.
Oh my God, you're so right. It's wow.
But he can be the laughing butt of everybody's jokes, and he need to get over it. That's what happens when you get with a powerful woman.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted a boss babe. You take what comes with it. Like they was telling Kiki Palmer's man.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue it. I don't have the statistics. It's just logic to me. So talk about women being unhappy. What's actually interesting about the female mind, once again, they're going to call me misogynist, is that when you're an emotionally led person, you're more prone to chaos. It takes real stoicism to lead. So why are these women unhappy? Because no one's leading them. No fathers, no men of no backbone, no man they respect. So they're relying on society, which is promoting chaos, and their own mental state. Women will say all the time, my period was coming up, so I was crazy. Like, they'll say that themselves. So without any kind of hard rock of emotional security to give her a hug and say, don't worry, baby, calm down, it's okay. When you have no hard rock of emotional security and you leave her to her own devices, she's going to be, to a degree, chaotic. And you know who told me this? A woman said this to me. A woman said, most women are closer to a mental breakdown than you possibly believe, day by day. I was like, really? She goes, yeah, and that's what I love about my husband. He makes me feel happy and secure and safe. If I'm starting to have a problem, I know I go to him and he makes me feel safe. He's my rock. There's a woman said this to me a long time ago. Yes. So why are women miserable? Because where are they going to get their happiness from? Where are they going to get their emotional stability from? It's not their job. I don't believe it's a woman's job to be emotionally stable. It's a woman's job to do many other very important things that men can't do. More important, they're better than men at a lot of things, women are. But it's our job to be emotionally stable. Women are better than us at certain things. We're better at other things. And that's why as a team, we're so powerful. To sit and pretend we're all the same the whole way through, then why do we even need each other anymore?
Well, I don't think we do.
You're exactly it. And this is why we have birth rates declining, porn, women who are running around sharing one man with no intention of having children, marriage is gone. Like, where do we think this is going to end? And what's interesting about
it ends with the training thing, right?
Well, yeah, that's the ultimate.
No, I'm serious though. If there's no, scrambling the idea of the gender binary of sex differences, like that is kind of the end point, isn't it?
Well, the end point is, men are the same as women, so it doesn't even matter.
Adam 22 comments and he says, if he's the top G, I can be the bottom G.
And if that doesn't close enough.
Well, at least he knows.
If he's the top G, I can be the bottom G. And that ultimately fuels the entire narrative of what Tate was saying. Mm-hmm. That he acknowledges his position after doing such a thing, cannot no longer be in the leadership role of this marriage. Mm-mm. She can't even respect him anymore, if we're all the way honest. And watch the rest of that interview I had up. They actually brought the dude on that she did the scene with and started to interview him. And he went on to say, yeah, I personally couldn't do it myself. I wouldn't let my lady do it, but to each their own. Listen, man. So I don't know, go ahead.
And for any woman that wants to be protected or loved, a man that wants to share you, a man that wants to present you in a sexual way, to show you off in a sexual way, you may like it for a moment, but you will inevitably feel unloved and unprotected, and you will not respect that man.
Yep. Exactly. Shout out to Ghost Cubic. I quit my job unemployed for 6 months because my employer said, get the job or quit. And that's what they fear. I'm assuming you're a man. If you're not, I apologize. But that's what they fear, is men who take those kind of stances. And that's what Andrew Tate talked about more in that Tucker Carlson video. And we're going to get into that tomorrow. We're going to do a full review on that interview, because I think it's very important and very telling, especially for the conservatives who had a lot to say when the allegations came out about his arrest. Mel, we're going to address that. Ain't this coming from a guy who hired guys, meant to say girls, for his webcam business, LOL. Very important question. We're going to address it tomorrow, but it's going to be on my channel. So make sure y'all subscribe, youtube.com/@Driscoll757.
I wanted to say something
Yep.
really quick. When you brought up how they're weakening men in their leadership roles at home, and how because they want to prevent men from standing 10 toes down. That's literally what's happening when a man is not able and capable to lead and have control of his own family. How can he go out into the world and feel the courage to lead and stand for anything and anything else? It starts at home, and they know that. It's psychology. They know that if a man has no power at home, he will not have no power in the world.
Exactly. And that's why, shout out to Mom Army organization that we work closely with. But that's why Mom Army is a huge movement and Dad Army is a micro movement, because that's part of the agenda being fueled in society. We love to see strong women.
Yeah.
Mama Bears unite, stand up, women in the forefront, get into the fight. But the men, we do them how we did Tate.
Yeah.
Because we don't want a standard of men who oppose societal norms, who say, no, we're not going to stand for that. And we don't even understand how the media will help fuel that agenda as well, because they know that there can be no real revolt from mama bears. Let's be honest. Y'all making all the noise you want all around the world. And how much is really changing? There's some change. But I will even beg to argue that the real change is coming from the mama bears smart enough to pull the men out there at the protests as well. But a bunch of women out here hollering and screaming with signs up, it's just obnoxious. These school boards still pushing their agendas. Boys are still going in your girls' bathrooms. It ain't till the men get up and stop saying, I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to offend nobody. I can't say this in public, but this is what I think in private.
Yeah.
Thanks for what y'all doing. I can't do it, but we glad you do. Until the men stop doing that, there won't be no change.
Yeah. There couldn't be a revolution like that.
And that's why they want to snip the balls of every man who starts to.
Because people like Tate encourage other men, and he's got a reach.
Yes. And does that mean that everything he says and does is right? No. Does that mean that he's called to pastor a church? No. Does that mean that he's the biblical example of a godly man? No. But the same went for Malcolm X. Same goes for Donald Trump. And a lot of y'all vote and support him. There have been plenty of great men who have done great things. That does not make them a full-on role model in every aspect of their life.
I mean, we can go biblical. Every man that God used mightily were
very
flawed men.
Let's go there.
David was sleeping with his friend's wife. And
Let's go there. Let's go there on David. Because we like to treat the Bible like these are fables and fairy tale stories.
Right.
But if you knew a powerful man, the way we hang Trump right now, if you knew a powerful man with Trump level influence that sent the commander of SEAL Team 6 to go do a mission to bring down the #1 terrorist threat right now. And while that man was gone, Trump went and slept with his wife and got him pregnant And this came out in WikiLeaks. And then once he realized she was pregnant, now that Roe v. Wade's overturned and he can't get the abortion, he got the man killed. He set up for him to die in a helicopter crash. Would y'all call him a great man?
A man after God's own
But
heart.
God called him a man after God's heart. I'm gonna let you marinate on that one.
Yeah.
Ghost Cubic said, yes, I'm a man and father of 5. Come on, man. King Solomon. Listen, thousands of wives who eventually turned his heart from God. But he was the wisest man to ever walk the face of the earth. Kings and queens came from all around the world to hear his wisdom.
Gifted to him from God.
Can we stop perpetrating the idea that people ought to be perfect and dot every I and cross every T for their influence and for us to acknowledge what God has given them? Because if we really want to go there, why are you even listening to us? We're the least of qualified to tell anybody anything about what's best for society. We made every mistake there is.
Yes, indeed.
It's only by God's grace we have any of the wisdom we present. And it's only by his grace that we have the courage to present it, knowing where we came from. We do not meet the standard.
Mm-mm.
So I refuse to be brainwashed into the agenda to tear down everybody who begins to take a stand. We need to encourage that. We did the same thing to Ye. Ye start telling us everything going on in the cabal, and we tore him down.
Yep.
We should have been propping that man up and say more, Ye. So what if he go off the rails and do a couple things crazy? Give him the freedom to speak, because he knows more than you.
Experienced more than you.
Let that man speak. So what, Trump don't speak nice? Who knows more about what the elite are doing behind the scenes? Who would be more uncontrollable? A career politician who says what we want to hear? Or somebody who can't be bought because he got everything that he needs already?
Yeah. So quick to call Tate a misogynist or, a trafficker because he had a webcam business and all kind of just clearly it's an agenda to make people stop listening to him because he's saying something we need to hear.
And mind you, she has not seen the Tucker interview yet. So it's going to be good tomorrow because we got a surprise for everybody, including her. There's going to be a lot of reactionary responses that are going to be fresh, raw, and real. And I think it's very important that men, we stop bowing to this nonsense. We stop letting society tell us how we're supposed to lead, how we're supposed to act, what we're allowed to like, what we ought to say.
And that you ought not be controlling.
That's a dangerous precedent to set. Because everything the powers that be tell you not to do is exactly what they are trying to do. And if we don't gain some type of autonomy over ours, we're going to be slaves. We're going to be slaves with an open fence, standing on the plantation, afraid to leave because the news said danger's over there.
Yep.
We're going to be just like the Israelites when they escaped Egypt and approached the Red Sea and said, we ought to go back. God led us to destruction.
Let's go back to our captors.
Then God parts the Red Sea. Imagine, none of us has ever seen an ocean part in half. None of us has even seen an ocean floor beyond where we could stand at the beach. Imagine watching an ocean part in half. And every last one of our entire race of people walk through there. And then we reach the wilderness on the other side and begin to complain that God brought us here to die. This is human nature.
Yeah.
We sway with the wind. That's why it says we ought to walk by faith and not by sight. We cannot trust what we see. This is a spiritual war out here. And we got to do this episode on propaganda, probably on my page on Church of Heathens. So, because a lot of people don't understand that since 2012 or 13, Obama made it legal with the repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act. You can Google this right now. Maybe DuckDuckGo is better because Google censors things. He has made it legal for propaganda to be pressed by our government. Repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act. Look it up. So they can actually tell you bald-faced lies on the news legally. And if you think that's extreme and they wouldn't do that, then you need to understand that it has been done before already. And there is declassified papers on this from the CIA. It was called Operation Mockingbird, if I'm not mistaken, in the 1960s. And it was their way to control information dissemination to the American public to sway our opinion on the Vietnam War. And the operation never ended. There's no official end date. If you dig into the news media, you find that a lot of these big name people who work for the news media have CIA ties. Anderson Cooper was literally in the CIA. Write it off as crazy conspiracy theory if you want to, but the wise men will look into this. When you watch CNN, that ticker at the bottom and the way they are presented and all of the branding, be honest though, don't you feel like you're watching an authoritative message? Do you feel like this is just a business giving you their perspective and opinion, or do you feel like you're hearing from the government? Be honest with yourself.
That's true. That is so true. And that they're trustworthy.
There's a reason for that. They have recruited the world's greatest psychologists to learn how to market information to people. Corporations, still to this day, for 50 plus years, have recruited psychologists to learn how to market to people and how our brains work. So just something to think about, man. I'm not here to turn this into a conspiracy theory show, but we have to understand that there is an attack on masculinity, and the ultimate goal is to destroy family values.
This is war. This is a new form of war.
We've been at war. We've been at war for over a decade, and it's not the bomb and the ground fight is not the threat. That's the distraction. This war is to cripple us from the inside, and they don't have to do anything but sit back, watch, and laugh. I actually came across a document that I had shared on my old show I did with my fellas back in 2020. China's 100-year plan to destroy America. And it showed a step-by-step. I'm going to try to find that document and bring that up. And it showed a step-by-step game plan from attacking morality, family values, to pushing the LGBT agenda, to news disinformation, to create racial tension and the civil uprise. Everything that they could do to ultimately turn us as a people against each other and to make us so broken as a society that we can't stand on our own, and we now need the government to save us. And most don't even understand that our government can't save us because most of them have been bought out by China. CCP is the biggest threat. It ain't right versus left. The Chinese Communist Party is the biggest threat to the world.
Yeah.
Republican versus Democrat is a distraction because they bought on both sides. And that's why it takes a man that is not a politician to come in here and tear it up and call out both sides. He called them rhinos on the right when they ain't really conservatives, but they for the the establishment.
Bought.
And of course, the left's agenda is so radical that it's nothing like the JFK Democrats. The left is doing everything that is against who we are as Americans. Look up Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, a training manual for government covert propaganda. They make insane stories in the news to gauge reaction so they can then improve the propaganda. Is that a book, bro? Definitely want to look that up. Noblesse said China isn't the only country doing that to the USA. I can believe that. But they're the big player. They're the big player. So yeah, we way over time, way off topic now. But again, we're gonna get into that Andrew Tate thing tomorrow. We're gonna start talking about some more real things because family, at the heart of it, this is what we gotta fight for and defend.
Yeah.
We went from the most married people in 1960 at an 80% rate, the Black community, to the least married people in this country at a 26% rate. And if you think that is by mistake, you're fooling yourself. Once you add in the abortion, we killed off over 25 million of our babies.
Yeah. They're destroying us. From
I mean, how can we complain about voting power?
Right.
When our population is literally stagnated and not grown because of the amount of Black people that we've killed before they even got to take their first breath. Now the amount of us who are being feminized, tucking our tails, outright gay, now they're going for our children because they know what we don't want to admit, that most homosexuality comes from child molestation, sexual assault, often by the same sex. And we see that level of debauchery now at these pride events where they want to twerk and mimic sexual activity in front of the children now. Pride was not like that 4 years ago. It's going off the rails now. They want to do drag shows for our children.
Yeah. I just seen a video where this gay group was doing a prom for high school for I forgot the age group, but clearly it's prom. And they were making goodie bags. And guess what was in the goodie bags? Condoms, lube, gay paraphernalia, just everything to entice your children to explore their sexuality on prom.
And what good does that do to our society? Ask yourselves this, because it's easy as adults to take certain stances on these topics. Do you want your child to grow up and pursue an open relationship? That's when we start to get honest with ourselves. We can okay all of the things that society praises, but do you want that for your child? Do you want your daughter going to parties and sleeping with random men?
And imagine how this impacts a family if they do have children and they husband and wife have an open relationship. I know that has to impact the sanctity and unity of that family in some way. Or as the kids get older, you don't think they're going to find out?
Yeah. So again, subscribe if you have not, youtube.com/@Driscoll757. And tomorrow we're going to dive into that Andrew Tate interview. We appreciate everybody who did come by. Mel said, oh, it's getting worse now. There's an app that generates how your child would look like based on your face. And you know, the other sick part from there, I can't even imagine, man. But yeah, we need the men to stand up.
Yes.
We can't sit back and allow these attacks on our children. Shout out to my brother who said he walked away from his whole job because he wasn't going to get the jab. And it ain't about whether or not you thought the jab was okay. It's the principle that they're trying to make you do it with little known research on the topic. It's how tyrannical they were about it. Lena said, y'all helped my husband and I decide to homeschool. We pulled an 11th and 8th grader out. I'm done. Shout out to you for that.
Praise God.
How did your 11th grader, how did the kids feel about that? Were they upset? Was it kind of a letdown? Because I can imagine at that age, it could be tough to explain to a child that I'm going to keep you away from your friends, essentially, because they develop an expectation of a social life that grows in that age group. But shout out to you for putting your kids first. Wish I could tell you a story about this. It illustrates the destruction that open relationships cause. Why can't you? Hit us in the DM if it's private. And I guess I was going to say it could be anonymous, but it can only be but so anonymous now.
Right.
But I don't think anybody would know who you are.
Maybe it's just too long of a story to type.
Great job, Melina. Absolutely. Thanks for what you
Yes.
both do.
Great
Appreciate
job.
you, Joe. Yeah, homeschool, man. On that topic, before we get out of here, we've been doing a call to action and we're going to do it again. Call to action for all parents this summer. Let's take a stand. Enough with the school board meetings, enough with the marching, enough with the complaining and sharing videos, demanding change on the internet like anybody hears or cares about what we're saying. Take your kids out of these schools. Let's homeschool our children. Send a message the same way the Black community rallied together and said, we need to support Black business and take our money away from these white folks. That's the only way we're going to answer. And most didn't really do it. That's what needs to happen here.
To these schools, yes.
Let them get a shortage of federal cards this school year. Federal funding goes to these schools based on the amount of students they have. If we could spread this message and 1 million kids in America don't show up to schools, then they're going to have to hear what we got to say when the next school board meeting is to talk about their salary cuts. Then when we show up with complaints, they're going to blow a trumpet. They're going to roll the red carpet out to hear what you got to say.
Yes. Let's write it down. What do you want us to do, parents? And in the meantime, that could actually help in pushing the school choice legislation nationwide.
Yes.
Because where's all this money going to go?
There you go. And I keep hearing parents, that get offended by this because they don't want to make the sacrifices for it. Say, homeschool ain't the answer. School choice ain't the answer. It's going to hurt the kids who can't. And what we really need to do is make them stop indoctrinating kids. How? We've been crying for 3 years. How you going to make them stop?
Martyr your kids. That's what they're saying, basically. They want your children to be the martyrs for the kids that can't.
You let your kid be a martyr. You send your kid in there with those agendas and hope that they come out unscathed. For the wise parents out there, stop playing with these folks, man.
And honestly, if a lot of parents were to do this, and the people who couldn't afford to do this, which I think there are ways around that, but if you couldn't quit your job and you couldn't homeschool, there will be ways around it. You could probably send your kid over to a homeschool mom's kid and have her homeschool your kid.
Exactly.
There's ways. I'm sure there will be parents out here willing to help you.
Find a homeschool parent out here who's already doing it.
Right.
Get creative. Pray about it. Where there's a will, there's a way. But this is on God's heart and he will help you.
Yeah.
Stop martyring your kids, because as long as we silently go along with the agenda to program us to think that our kids are better in the hands of the government than ourselves, we're going to keep losing control. That's what they want. Now you got states like California telling you that you can lose custody of your kid if you don't affirm their gender when they decide that they want to be something other than what they were born. They getting gully on y'all. And that's also one of the states with the worst homeschool laws in the country.
Yeah.
So your kids got to go to their school. And you can homeschool in Cali, don't get me wrong, but they make it more difficult. That's also the state where you can't do a religious exemption for jabs. We got to stop bowing to this much control.
Yeah. Get out of California.
The government is supposed to be here to support the people, the interests of the people. Not my story directly, thank goodness, but I knew them years ago. People will try to drag you into their lifestyle. Principles and values will protect you. Amen.
And Melina said, my son is not thrilled, but my 11th grader is ready. Friends can come over here, but yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They social life don't got to end just because they don't go to school.
Yeah. Put them in sports.
It can get better. And a lot of people don't know that homeschool kids can still try out for sport teams at the local schools. In most states, at least. Mm-hmm. So it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Let them be under your reign and your influence. And then when they go out other places, they take your values elsewhere. But if they spending the most of their time around other people's kids and these wild teachers with these crazy ideas now, you're not going to be their top influence for long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the kids, they're biting the apple. So they're influencing them as well.
Let's train our kids up according to our family values. Let's make men men again. And most importantly, let's make marriage great again.
Amen.
All right. God bless y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Remember, on my channel, at Driscoll757, we're going to dive into that Tucker Carlson interview with Andrew Tate. There is so much to dissect. I promise you, you do not want to miss that.
I'm excited.
Absolutely. And until then, God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your night.
We need you long, we lost so many chosen. We need the place to come thought provoking.